Hello, Oiler Nation, and welcome to Oilers Insider. I'm Tim Montgomery, along with Director of Athletics Jim Givens. We hope that you and your family had a tremendous Thanksgiving holiday. And here at Oilers Update, we try to keep you up to date on everything going on in Oiler Nation. And certainly plenty of things happened in the last couple of weeks here. Jim, let's go ahead and jump right into them with a look at our headlines. Football was a good news, bad news situation. On the good news side, they hosted their first ever home playoff game in the NCAA era on November 22nd. The unfortunate side, a 37-14 loss to Minnesota State, but a great season. 10-2 GMAC co-champs, then 11 players receiving all-conference honors, led by Sam Wyrow, Defensive Player of the Year, and London Claxton, Defensive Lineman of the Year. Just a tremendous season and another step forward for Oiler football.
Yeah, no question, and I think that's the a step that Coach Allen and his staff have been looking for. Certainly as an athletic department, we're extremely proud of our football student athletes and coaches. I don't think people really understand how hard it is to go 10-1 throughout the course of a football season. And you know, it's a testament to how hard they work. You are out there every week almost. You see what they do. You know, the support was great. I think this is a huge step for our program, and I think great things are ahead for our football program.
And in one of the upcoming episodes of this, we're going to spend, after the dust settles a little bit, really want to dig into that Oiler football season. Move on here, and women's soccer season ended. They did not receive the at-large bid to regionals, but still, again, another program that takes another step forward.
Yeah, Coach Perry and her group were really disappointed in not getting that bid. You know, it's when you look back on the season and you know, they had quite a few ties. If one of those ties turns into a win, they're probably in. So they were disappointed, but you know, they continued to do everything the right way. They are having athletic success. They're having strong academic success. Yep. The girls are just a pleasure to be around and represent the institution how everybody would want them to represent. So great job to Coach Perry and Isaac. You know, again, taking the right steps.
Volleyball won their conference quarterfinal matchup here against Thomas More, but then fell to eventual tournament champion ODU in the semis in a 4-setter. They did earn a bid to the regionals with a 5 seed. They'll face number 4 Wayne State, and that's coming up here this week. And of course, we wish them the best of luck.
No, absolutely. You know, Coach Kochagoff does a tremendous job with our volleyball program. You look what they started years ago and haven't had too many lean years, and I will say, you know, they certainly build off the momentum that they had last year up at Ferris, and you know, I'm sure everybody in that program was disappointed in how our season ended in the GMAC tournament as well. So, you know, I think that they're ready to make a statement in the region and hopefully, you know, disappoint a couple of other teams.
Wrestling took that trip to Allendale, and I can say, yes, a little bit of disappointment. They were facing off against number 21 Grand Valley, number 9 St. Cloud State, number 10 Glenville State. So obviously they set themselves up for a bit of a gauntlet and came up on the short end on all those head-to-heads. But again, wrestling's different. It's about preparing yourself for that end run as you head towards nationals.
Yeah, 100%. And anybody who knows Coach Nelson, he's only going to try to schedule the best opponents that he can. He wants to get his guys ready for national competition, and he wants to represent the University of Findlay in national competition, and that everything that he does from a practice standpoint is geared towards getting their guys ready for national competition. So you said it. Look at the teams that they played or they wrestled. Not one of them was an easy it was a slouch.
All top 25?
100%, and that's Coach Nelson.
And then men's and women's basketball are going to be our deeper dives here coming up in a couple of segments here, but moving into GMAC conference play this week, that's always an exciting time.
Absolutely. I think there are a lot of positives on both the men's and the women's teams. If you look at the men, their only defeat is against a very, very good Gannon team. I'll tell you, you watch that team play, especially on the defensive end, I think that's how we want to play and how we want our fans to say, oh my gosh, that's it. They were a very, very good basketball team, and I would expect them at the end of the year to be going pretty deep into the tournament. But, our guys went on the road right off the start with the crossover up in Quincy, and they handled themselves great. I'm sure that Coach Ernst was a little disappointed in blowing the lead that they did in the second game. That's something that has always kind of plagued us. More so getting that lead in the first half and then coming out in the second half and letting it dissipate. And that happened again. So I know that's been a point of contention for him. They are paying attention to that, and hopefully, they get that worked out where we don't have to breathe so hard when we're watching them. But the women off to a good start. Coach Durand has done a good job recruiting. She's got a different style, a different couple of players that hopefully will make a difference. And they're off to a good start. So we're excited for basketball season.
All right, and deeper dives on both those programs coming up here in just a moment on Oilers Insider.
The environmental health, safety, and sustainability field is growing rapidly, with opportunities in safety, environmental protection, sustainability, policy, worker safety, public health, and emergency response. EHSS graduates from the University of Findlay have gone on to work for Fortune 500 companies across the United States, along with federal and local agencies to assist and lead in compliance, training, mitigation strategies, and innovative sustainability achievements. If you want to make a difference in the environment or any of these areas, this program will give you the knowledge, network, and opportunities to do so. Learn how you can be the voice for change in an evolving and critical industry by visiting finley.edu/EHSS or UFindleyEHSS on Instagram.
Welcome back to Oilers Insider. Tim Montgomery, Jim Givens, talking all things Oiler athletics. And we said the first of our two deeper dives, going to talk about women's basketball. As you said, Jim, off to a good start at 3-2 on the early season. Some solid wins in there, but also a couple of tough matchups. Seton Hill, a very good program, came into Croy and hung a 73-57 loss on them. And then you talk about playing the best. Well, current ranked number one, Grand Valley came in here, and yeah, it's a disappointing 92-57 loss, but that second half was a very different half of basketball than that first half was. I think we saw some real growth out of the women in that match. Yeah, no question. And I give Coach Durand credit for scheduling teams like Grand Valley and Seton Hill. Seton Hill, they made a deep run into the tournament last year. Don't think they were near as competitive. They're not as near as competitive nationally as they were last year. But Grand Valley certainly is. They were impressive. When you go to a college women's basketball game, that's probably a team that's what you should look like or want to look like, because they were in all phases. They had it. But like you said, our girls competed. They did not give up. They very easily could have rolled over at halftime. They didn't. They came out.
And they cut into the lead a little bit, and they showed themselves that, hey, we can do this against a team like that. And I think that's a big part, especially women's basketball. I think that mental side sometimes is really a huge thing.
Well, that's where I was going to go next. You know, as a former athlete and former coach, sometimes there's more to get from a loss, a strategic loss, if you will, that the team can learn from and build on, sometimes more so than a win.
Yeah, no question. I think the big thing that you look at is, did the team quit? And so many times it doesn't. If you've watched any athletic event and enough, you can see when teams quit, and that's a credit to our coaching staff. They don't let that happen, and it's credit to our girls. I mean, that's the way that they're built, and that's how we know we're getting the right kids.
Also have to keep in mind, as we've talked about in previous episodes, this is team in a little bit of transition. You lose Kate Ellis, who is going to go down as an all-time Oiler great. And yes, that's big, but sometimes I think people forget about some of the other pieces that got lost in that. Janae Hoying, who I would say the last couple of seasons, maybe the best on-ball defender in the women's program. Chloe Callahan, who certainly had some outside shooting touch. McKenna Stevens, a very aggressive player out there. Players who knew their role. That's something that this current team is in the process of figuring out for players like Ella Mesh or Araya Douglas, Sophie Huffman. They're trying to figure those things out.
Yeah, I think everybody wants that Kate Ellis or that dynamic player that's going to come in, and you know you're going to get 20 a night from them, and you're probably going to get, 10 rebounds, 5 steals, and at this level, that probably isn't going to happen. So you really have to your point, you really have to rely on the complete game. And I think that if you look at who we lost, you look what Janae did defensively. She was our shutdown defender. She went through some hot and cold shooting spells, and when she was hot, and when she's cold, she couldn't throw it in the ocean. But that's the game of basketball, right? Chloe's the same way. Chloe gets hurt, she gets off to a good start, she gets hurt, she comes back, and it takes her a while, but when she finally came back, she was a difference in those last few ball games, if you remember. I think that that's a testament to our program and how it works, and I think, again, we talk about the steps. I think the steps that we're taking are large ones and are going to pay off in the long run.
All right, as we said, the women getting ready to jump into conference action. Thomas More and KWC here in Niekamp Arena, then a trip over to Walsh the next week before coming back home to take on Northwood. So some big matchups there. We're going to take another timeout. When we come back, we'll take a deep dive on the men's program as well here on Oilers Insider.
The University of Findlay Department of Media and Communication offers 3 majors: journalism and digital media, public relations, and organizational communication. Comm majors have the opportunity to be leaders in our on-campus media outlets, including UFTV, 88.3 WLFC, and Pulse News, our award-winning student newspaper. Students can join the Pulse Media Club and participate in a number of digital media production events and experiences. Whether it's shooting and editing video, creating PR campaigns, crafting social media strategy, or writing in-depth news stories. Our goal is to help students become great storytellers. Alumni of our department work in a variety of communication careers, including news anchor and reporter, copy editor and page designer, digital marketing manager, social media community management specialist, and many more. You can find more about how to get on the path to success at findlay.edu/communication. It's where you can develop meaningful lives and productive careers.
Welcome back to Oilers Insider. Tim Montgomery, Jim Givens here. Another deeper dive, or if you will, we're going to drill down here on the men's program. 5-1 on this young season. You mentioned the crossover earlier, but also wins over 2 former GLIAC foes. 102-70 over Ferris, 95-81 over Wayne State. I'm not going to say either of those programs right now are where they have been historically, but still, when you're talking about GLIAC basketball, you're talking about playing against a high caliber opponent. Yeah,
no question. And if you remember back in those days, Wayne State and Ferris both, there was nothing automatic. It was cutthroat every night we played those teams. And right now, as you said, Wayne State, they're not the typical Wayne State that we have known. Coach Griffith, member coach, he walked in here and he had his little, he had it going on, and they were a tough opponent. Ferris is
National
Ferris.
title just a few years ago.
100%, and that was not your typical Ferris basketball team, and there's a reason for that. I don't think probably a lot of people know the situation that happened at Ferris with their coach.
Program in flux is a safe statement to make.
100%. But you know that in the next couple of years, they're going to see a completely different team. So, but yes, traditionally those are two very, very big wins. Gannon. Gannon, we went to war with how many times in the GLIAC, and that was what it felt like. There was that feel when you walked in Croy the other night when we played Croy that, it's like, holy cow, I've felt this before. There was just a different type of energy, and I haven't seen a team. Well, I take that back. Toledo, I guess, they came out and shot it like that.
Yeah.
Gannon, they were filling
Lights
it
out.
up. Yeah, 100%.
And then most recently, the 123-73 win over Bluffton. Obviously, that's kind of a tune-up kind of thing. And one of the things I like about that matchup is Coach literally had everybody on the roster into that to get some seasoning for the younger players and give them just a small little feel about what basketball at this level is going to be like.
Yeah, throughout the course of 25, 27 game schedule, it's tough to keep everybody happy, and this was one of those games where you let the starters play for a half and then see where you're at and get some other guys some minutes, because at some point in our conference you're going to need some of those guys, and nothing prepares them better than real game experience. You can practice all you want, it's not the same. The floor is different. It's still wood, but it's a different feel. And I give Coach credit for scheduling Bluffton. They're 20 minutes down, and I think it was great for their program to be able to come here, and he does a great job with that team, and there's a lot of great people at Bluffton University, so they're going to be okay.
And there's also the backstory of what was going on,
100%.
and everybody knows, and that was part of the original plan with that as well, so certainly understandable. Other big notes from last week, Coach Ernst earns his 300th head coaching victory. Thoughts on Coach Ernst?
He is what he is. He is what you see every game that you come to, and that's polished and competitive. He not only comes to work every day with a purpose, he makes sure that everybody around him is pleased, and that's something a little bit different in today's world, and we need more of that. But I'm beyond excited to be able to work with Coach Ernst every day. He's a pleasure to have around. He comes up to our office and he'll sit down and just ask how things are and want to know if there's anything that he can do to help. If there's issues, and I appreciate that in my position. So just a class act, and we're very excited for his 300th win and hope he gets a couple hundred more, to be honest with you.
Well, it's absolutely amazing. I talk about it probably more than I should, but when you look at the history of this program, 3 head coaches since 1955, 4 since 1947. He's 133 behind Coach Howdy, 297 behind Coach Niekamp, and I joked with him, Coach Reniger has the building across the sidewalk, and Coach Niekamp has the arena, and Coach Howdishell has the floor. We're going to have to figure out something at some point that's going to have the name Ernst put on it.
We'll figure that out. We'll figure that out.
Good problem to have.
That's right.
All right. The men have the same schedule as the women over these next 2 weeks. Thomas More on Thursday, and a team that gave them some headaches a little bit last year, KWC. Then the trip over to Walsh, which is never, ever an easy place to play in there. And they seem to get up for the Oilers as much or as well as anybody does before coming back for Northwood. So a lot of Oiler basketball on the horizon here for Oiler fans.
No question about it. I mean, if you look at Thomas More and Kentucky Wesleyan, that's a tough start. Those are two established programs, especially on the men's side, and we have struggled with them every year. And then Coach Young, you know what he's going to do at Walsh. He's going to be back. He's not going to have another year like he had last year. So we know that that's going to be a different scenario, and I know Coach will have the guys ready to play.
All right, we're going to be back with another segment as we go inside the Athletic Director's Corner. Go and pick the mind of the master when we return on Oilers Update.
Want to be a radio DJ? Produce interesting and fun podcasts? How about learning to create your own YouTube sports show? These are just some of the things you can do majoring in media and communication at the University of Findlay. Our campus radio station, 88.3 WLFC, is located at the center of campus in the AMU. And UFTV has transformed into a video streaming powerhouse, covering athletics and a number of other campus events. There are countless opportunities for students interested in digital media production and content creation, as experienced faculty and staff offer a guiding hand to work toward professional accomplishments. It's here where you can develop meaningful lives and productive careers.
Welcome back to Oilers Insider. Tim Montgomery, Jim Givens, and we go into the Athletic Director's Corner. And holidays are a wonderful time. There's no question about it. I know you enjoy your time being grandpa and all that good stuff, and I enjoy spending time with my family. But it can be a challenging time for athletics. You got a somewhat empty campus for a significant period of time. You got to deal with travel. You got to deal with housing for those athletes who are still staying on campus. You got 10-day hands-off period for basketball, all kinds of challenges. And one of the biggest ones is getting events taken care of, because you guys rely very heavily on student athletes to help out with other sports.
Yeah, no question. And I will tell you, Tim, we are blessed to have not only a staff, but student athletes that don't bat an eye to help. You know, I had David Buck, our associate athletic director, I asked, I said, hey, can you do me a big favor? Can you make me a list of potential scenarios that if we win here, where are we going to be at in the regional? Where are we going to be at in our conference? So he did that, and it was probably 5 pages front and back of, okay, if we do this, then we're going to have a playoff football game, 2 volleyball games potentially, 2 basketball games potentially on that Saturday. And the first thing that comes to mind is, how do we do that? Because we only have a limited number of staff. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you, we prepared for it because we were hoping that's what would happen. We had student athletes like that. We had our staff. We had other people on campus say, hey, we know that you're busy. Our group is willing to help. And I mean, that says a lot. And I'm very thankful to be in a place where that happens, because I know it's not like that everywhere. It's exciting, but I don't know that the general public knows how much is behind it, which is typical, and we all understand that. But here, it's different. Because of the passion and how much people truly care about one another to make sure that they're taken care of and everything is going to go how you want it. Because we want to represent the institution at the highest level. And being able to host championships is our highest level.
And it's a really important time for the teams as well. I talk about this all the time. A lot of coaches view it because of all those challenges that the holidays bring. If your team can come out of that playing well, that's usually a pretty good sign for heading into the second half of the season.
No, 100%. I think if you ask any coach, especially at this time of the year, number one, they can get healthy if they have some injuries, right? They have a window there where kids can do nothing or don't have to do anything. Now, they do it on their own, obviously, but if you have somebody injured, that's a great time for them to, kind of catch up. And it's also a time where, coaches try to create that, can't wait till we get back. Can't wait till we get back. And I think that's when coaches have a good feel for what they're going to have for the rest of the year, if that makes sense.
It does. Well, let's go ahead before we wrap things up, take a look at the upcoming schedule here. We already mentioned men's and women's basketball schedule over the next couple weekends. Wrestling will be at the Wisconsin Open on December 6th, and then they're on a bit of a hiatus for the holidays.
Yes, that's typical of wrestling this time of year. That the Wisconsin invite is no joke.
It's a big deal.
I mean, yeah, it really is. So I'm sure they'll get some really good experience there.
Swimming and diving, meanwhile, they are be at the Calvin Invite, which is always a big event from the 4th to the 6th. And then just up 75 at Bowling Green, where they'll be facing off with the Falcons and John Carroll. And that's an interesting 3 programs meeting up there.
Yeah, it really is. Coach Santos and Danny have just done an amazing job. I tell you, you walk in this place at 6 a.m. And they're in the pool. You leave at 6 p.m. They're in the pool. It just truly blows my mind the amount of time that they spend with these student athletes and what they do. Every meet is just incredible, and I've really made it a point to get to know our swimmers a little bit better. They're right here. I see them every day, and it's just been a pleasure. It's part of the reason why I love doing what I do is to have that relationship with our student athletes, to be able to joke around with them, and they come to your office when they need some help. That's what we should be about.
Last but not least, volleyball, as we mentioned, opens up regional play on the 4th against Wayne State, and then go from there. And obviously wishing Coach Wick and the whole team the best of luck and a good long run.
Yeah, we're excited to watch. That's a tale of 2 teams that were fighting for that number 1 spot.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, now we're 4-5. And that's always one of the most difficult matchups of the tournament, and one certainly you try to avoid. Coach Golchagov has not run from that. His attitude has not really changed. It doesn't matter who he plays. They're going to go all out, and our girls, like I said earlier, are upset at how they finished the year because they feel like they didn't finish the year. So hopefully that serves us well in St. Louis.
All right. Remember, you can keep track of all things Findlay Oiler athletics on FindlayOilers.com. And that's going to pretty much wrap things up. For Jim Givens, I'm Tim Montgomery. Go Oilers.
Go Oilers.
Go Oilers. And we'll see you next time on Oilers Update.